On this past Wednesday night, my husband Jason and I took part in one of the several senior rituals at my daughter Olive's high school. These were rituals that led up to commencement, graduation, which was just on Friday. And on this particular night, the seniors gathered for a candle-lit dinner together where they spent about an hour and a half toasting one another. And when us parents joined them for dessert, we were invited to offer final toasts, words of wisdom, blessings to these wonderful young people before the big events that descended on Thursday and Friday. Now, you should know that commencement speeches, particularly at colleges, are some of my favorite texts to read and listen to. I know I'm not alone. Several of you have sent me some of your favorite commencement speeches over the years. They really are quite transformative. Words brilliantly crafted by truly brilliant people for a very specific demographic at a real turning place in their lives. The whole world is kind of at their feet, young people receiving these kinds of speeches. Whether it's high school or college graduations, these prophetic words, sage wisdom, philosophical musings, calls to action, visions about what the world most needs, married just so with good humor, maybe even a bit of irreverence. This is the stuff of those great commencement addresses. Now, we weren't necessarily asked to offer this kind of caliber of messaging, off the cuff no less, as parents Wednesday night. But one does naturally start hedging in this direction, wanting so desperately to find the words to impart some of these good blessings and good wisdom to 17 and 18-year-olds at such a tender turning. What is there to say? But as I stood there looking at their faces, seniors who, my God, have lived through a pandemic as middle schoolers, are navigating a world none of us had to navigate in the same way, and are being launched out into so many unknowns, both beautiful and terrifying, and simultaneously leaving behind so many knowns, rhythms, friends, place, home. And I felt myself on Wednesday night hoping and praying to myself that they not get too ahead of themselves, or too behind themselves, but rather to just savor the moment, even the simple stuff of that one evening, the mundane stuff, all the little things that tether us all to real time in the here and now, so that we might be initiated into it in some way and know how to carry on different. For every wedding I have ever officiated, I always begin the ceremony by speaking directly to the couple with almost pleading words. Arrive, because I don't want you to miss this. All the planning, all the foibles and fervor, all the friends and family members worrying and buzzing and blessing, and yes, irritating. And all the things that are about to happen, the photographs and food and music and toasts and all the big, beautiful things ahead, just let it fade. Be here, I beg, because you aren't going to want to miss this. Initiation, that word that I just used earlier, to be initiated into reality, into the here and now, that's how I just put it, is rarely how the movies depict it, initiation. Walking across hot coals, a mystical experience at a sacred site, or a hot air balloon trip around the world, or how about selling everything and becoming a whole new person, maybe with a whole new name. These are initiations, grand ones, as are graduations and weddings and rites of passage, big turnings in a life, the obvious ones. And if we can agree that initiations are about finding one's way toward a new way of being, living, thinking, feeling, well, my goodness, isn't that the invitation that's on the table every single day? Not just at those big, wild, walking across hot coals moments. I mean, there really is no substitution for the initiation that is earthiness. This moment that we as human beings have right now, here, in this day, in this moment we have been given. It's wild and wondrous to think that in every minute, in every breath, we are being given the opportunity to plant ourselves in the bigness of our life. In a way, this really is the master class for the initiated, for it is often the hardest kind of initiation, presence in our lives as they are now. Barbara Brown Taylor says that one common problem for people who believe that God has one particular job in mind for them is that it is almost never the job they are presently doing. This means, she says, that those who are busiest trying to figure out God's purpose for their lives are often the least purposeful about the work they are already doing. They can look right through the people they work with, since those people are not the players in the divine plan. They might even seem willing to look all over the place for the treasure box of more or something else, something bigger. They might spend hours launching prayers into the heavens, travel halfway around the world to visit a monastery in India or to take part in a mission trip to Belize. The last place, she says, most people look is right under their feet, in the everyday activities, accidents, and encounters of their lives. No one longs for what they already have. And yet, the accumulated insight of those wise about the spiritual life suggests that the reason so many of us cannot see the red X that marks the spot is because we're standing on it. All we lack, she concludes, is the willingness to imagine that we already have everything that we need. The only thing missing is our consent to be where we are. I have had to concede about myself that my mind, body, and being really like spending most of its time reviewing the past, or planning for dreaming of the future. And these are important exercises. But when that's all you're doing, you really do miss the X underneath your feet. My mind and body and being are so expert at these exercises. Oh my, do they come in a myriad of forms too. I learned in the rooms of recovery that to live a life of serenity and, yes, freedom is to take it one day at a time. And often this was minute by minute at a time. Those rooms offered me the spiritual practice and discipline of being planted in the moment, tending only to that which was before me, and to do it well, to accept it, and to surrender to my life on my life's terms, and to try not to worry about the rest. Father Richard Rohr calls this being initiated into reality. I want to tell you that I get it, that the reality of our lives is often not what we want to be present to, let alone accept. Some of us are living with an extraordinary amount of personal challenge right now. And if you are like me, when these ebbs of life arrive, you simply want it to stop. Many of us go to great lengths to try to make it stop. And this makes attunement to the present, let alone acceptance of it, extraordinarily challenging. It just feels too painful, too terrifying. And these are normal feelings. No wonder we might find ourselves trying to employ a variety of tactics to either return to better days or just skip ahead into easier tomorrows. Anne Lamott tells this story in her book, Bird by Bird. 30 years ago, my older brother, who was 10 years old at the time, was trying to get a report on birds done that he'd had 3 months to write. It was due the next day. We were out at our family cabin, and he was at the kitchen table close to tears, surrounded by binder paper and a stack this high of unopened books on birds. Immobilized by the hugeness of the task ahead, my father sat down beside him, put his arm around my brother's shoulder, and said, "Bird by bird, buddy. Just take it bird by bird." It's such a great metaphor, isn't it? Faced with the seemingly insurmountable or the bigness of a thing we can't envision getting through or ever ending, or my God, how will I ever make a start? Life and all it throws at us. Yes, even all the beautiful events and milestones ahead can have us forgetting about the X marks the spot under our bodies. Just take it bird by bird. One day, 1 minute, one breath, one action at a time. Now, many parents had so much to say on Wednesday night, such beautiful things, congratulating those teenagers for the big things that they'd accomplished and how far they'd come and the challenge they had faced. Those tears at the kitchen table nights, like Anne Lamott's brother. And they offered blessings for the days and months and years ahead. Oh, the places you'll go. You know, that Dr. Seuss book, a favorite graduation gift, right? Oh, the places you'll go. And you'd think I would have been one of them, because offering extemporaneous blessings and words is kind of my job. But the truth is, and some of you might find this hard to believe, I really was speechless. The beauty of that candlelit room, light bouncing off those young faces, the bigness, the brokenness of this world in which we all sat. Them surrounded by so much love. I think if I could have said anything, I might have simply invited us all into a moment of silence so that they might mark that precious moment in the present on their hearts in some way. Don't miss this. One bird, one breath, this moment, right now. It's a funny thing, life. The hope is that we do live each day well, to the best of our ability, with what we've got, called to what we are meant to do, and mark blessings on our hearts so that we can draw on them, and with some small semblance of courage and maybe even wisdom, face the inevitable chapters of life that level us, trusting that they too are rich in treasures for the journey ahead, hard as it might be to know it when we're in it. Personally, the etchings on my heart remind me about that grand array that our poet David White spoke of in his poem today. Surely, he writes, even you at times have felt the grand array, the swelling presence and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. Put down the weight of your aloneness, he says, and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you. Here, now. My message to you this morning is to be gentle with yourselves, to be kind to yourselves, even if you are struggling to accept your present circumstances or wishing things were different or so scattered that you can't seem to be present for much of anything these days. Or you're so excited about what's to come, your plans and designs for the days and months and years ahead. Beloveds, may you take it bird by bird and know that you aren't sitting at your table alone. The conversation, the chorus is vast. It is the earthiness you have been initiated into simply by being you, wonderful you. And if this is too hard for you to imagine today, too hard to even try for, may you simply find some comfort in this moment right now. One breath in, one breath out. God bless you all, and amen.